Alien Healer's Dilemma. Xyloth, the renowned Cryoxian healer, glided through the sterile corridors of the human space station Odyssey. Her iridescent robes shimmered under the artificial light, drawing curious glances from the station's inhabitants. Xyloth paid them no heed, her focus solely on the task at hand, a critically injured human soldier in need of her expertise. As she entered the medical bay, Xyloth's gaze fell upon the unconscious form of Captain Jace Ryder. His chiseled features were pale, his dark hair matted with sweat. The human medics had done their best, but Jace's injuries were severe, the result of a skirmish with a hostile alien species. Xyloth approached the bed, her slender fingers already glowing with the soft blue light of her healing energy. She had treated countless species across the galaxy, but humans were still somewhat of an enigma to her. Their physiology was resilient, yet their emotional depth and complexity often surprised her. As she began the healing process, Xyloth found herself struggling to mend Jace's wounds. His body seemed to resist her energies, the damage far more extensive than she had anticipated. Furrowing her brow, Xyloth redoubled her efforts, determined to save this human's life. Hours passed as Xyloth worked tirelessly, her energy reserves dwindling. Just as she began to fear she might fail, something extraordinary happened. A sudden surge of energy passed between them, a connection forged in the depths of Jace's subconscious. Xyloth gasped, her eyes widening as a flood of foreign emotions and memories washed over her. For a brief, intense moment, she saw the world through Jace's eyes. The camaraderie of his fellow soldiers, the weight of his responsibilities, and the fierce determination that drove him. As the connection faded, Xyloth found that Jace's wounds had begun to heal at an accelerated rate. The human's eyes fluttered open, locking onto Xyloth's with an intensity that left her breathless. "What happened?" Jace asked, his voice hoarse. "I felt something." Xyloth shook her head, at a loss for words. She had never experienced anything like this before, and the implications both thrilled and terrified her. What did this connection mean, and how would it impact their lives going forward? As Jace drifted back into a healing sleep, Xyloth stepped away from the bed, her mind reeling. She had come here to save a life, but now she found herself inexplicably bound to this human. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: neither of their lives would ever be the same. The accidental bond. In the days following Jace's miraculous recovery, Xyloth found herself increasingly drawn to the human captain. Their shared experience had forged a bond, one that allowed them to sense each other's emotions, and at times, even glimpse fragments of thoughts. Jace, too, seemed to struggle with the implications of their connection. He was a soldier, trained to maintain a level of emotional distance, but now he found himself sharing a profound intimacy with an alien he barely knew. As they walked the corridors of the Odyssey together, Xyloth could feel the curious stares of the crew. News of Jace's recovery had spread quickly, and many wondered about the nature of his relationship with the alien healer. "I don't understand what's happening to us," Jace confessed as they stood before a large viewport, gazing out at the stars. "I've never felt so connected to someone before, let alone someone from another species." Xyloth placed a comforting hand on his arm, marveling at the warmth of his skin. "I am just as confused as you are, Jace. In all my years as a healer, I have never experienced anything like this." Jace turned to face her, his blue eyes searching her own. "What do we do now? How do we move forward with this bond between us?" Xyloth wished she had the answers he sought, but the truth was, she was just as lost as he was. "I think," she said slowly, "we must take things one day at a time. Learn to understand and control this connection, and perhaps in time, its purpose will become clear." Jace nodded, his jaw clenched with determination. "I suppose you're right. We'll figure this out together, Xyloth. Whatever it takes." As they stood there, the weight of their shared destiny hanging between them, neither could have predicted the challenges that lay ahead. Challenges that would test not only their bond, but the very fabric of the universe itself. Disaster strikes. The attack came without warning. One moment, the Odyssey was cruising peacefully through the void, its crew going about their daily routines. The next, the station shuddered under the impact of an unknown alien weapon, alarms blaring as the lights flickered ominously. Jace, his soldier's instincts kicking in, raced to the command center, Xyloth close on his heels. As they burst through the doors, they were greeted by a scene of controlled chaos. The station's commander, a grizzled veteran named Admiral Thorn, barked orders as his crew scrambled to assess the damage and mount a defense. "What's the situation, Admiral?" Jace asked, his voice cutting through the din. Thorn turned, his face grim. "We're under attack by an unknown alien force. Their technology is unlike anything we've seen before, and our weapons are having little effect." Jace's mind raced, already formulating strategies. Have we tried hailing them? Negotiating a ceasefire? The Admiral shook his head. They're not responding to any of our communications. It's as if they're determined to wipe us out. Xyloth, her senses attuned to the emotions swirling around her, felt a wave of fear and desperation wash over the room. She glanced at Jace, seeing the resolve etched into his features. "I need to be out there, Admiral," Jace said, his voice brooking no argument. "I can't sit by while my people are in danger." Thorn looked as if he wanted to argue, but something in Jace's expression made him reconsider. "Very well, Captain. Take a squadron and do what you can to buy us some time." As Jace turned to leave, Xyloth caught his arm. "Jace, you're still recovering. It's too dangerous." He met her gaze, his eyes softening for a moment. "I have to do this, Xyloth. It's my duty." Xyloth felt torn, her healer's instincts warring with her growing affection for the human. She knew she couldn't stop him, but the thought of losing him so soon after their connection was forged filled her with dread. "Be careful," she whispered, her hand lingering on his arm. Jace nodded, a small smile tugging at his lips. "I will. And when I get back, we'll figure out this bond thing together." As he strode out of the command center, Xyloth watched him go, her heart heavy with worry. She had sworn an oath to preserve life. But now, faced with the prospect of losing Jace, she wondered if she had the strength to keep that promise. United through adversity. In the heart of the battle, Jace found himself in the cockpit of a sleek fighter craft, weaving through the chaos of laser fire and debris. His squadron had managed to draw the attention of the alien attackers, giving the Odyssey precious time to bolster its defenses. As he executed a daring maneuver, narrowly avoiding a burst of enemy fire, Jace felt a sudden presence in his mind. Xyloth's voice, tinged with worry and determination, echoed through their bond. "Jace, you need to come back. The Admiral has a plan, but he needs you here." Jace gritted his teeth, torn between his duty to his squadron and his growing trust in Xyloth's judgment. "I can't just abandon my team, Xyloth." "You're not abandoning them," she insisted, her mental voice firm. "You're giving them a chance to survive. Please, Jace, trust me." With a heavy heart, Jace gave the order for his squadron to return to the Odyssey. As they docked, he was met by Xyloth and Admiral Thorn, their faces etched with grim determination. "Captain Ryder," Thorn said, "we've analyzed the enemy's attack patterns and believe we found a weakness, but we need your help to exploit it." Jace leaned forward, his interest piqued. "What's the plan, Admiral?" Thorn brought up a holographic display of the alien ship. "We've detected a fluctuation in their shield harmonics. If we can modulate our weapons to match that frequency, we might be able to penetrate their defenses." Xyloth stepped forward, her eyes meeting Jace's. "And that's where we come in. Our bond, Jace. I believe we can use it to synchronize the modulation." Jace's eyes widened as he grasped the implications. "You mean, use our connection to interface with the weapon systems?" She nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "Precisely. Human ingenuity and Cryoxian empathic abilities working together." As they set to work, Jace marveled at the way their bond allowed them to work in perfect sync. It was as if they were two halves of a whole, their strengths complementing each other in ways he had never thought possible. With Xyloth's guidance and Jace's tactical expertise, they managed to modify the Odyssey's weapons, turning the tide of the battle. The alien ship, its shields compromised, began to falter under the onslaught. But even as victory seemed within reach, Jace knew their work was far from over. The true nature of their enemy, and the reasons behind their attack, remained a mystery, one that he and Xyloth would have to unravel if they hoped to prevent future threats. As the Odyssey emerged from the battle, scared but unbroken, Jace turned to Xyloth, a newfound respect and admiration shining in his eyes. "We make a pretty good team, don't we?" She smiled, her hand finding his. "Indeed we do, Jace. Indeed we do." Into the unknown. In the aftermath of the battle, Jace and Xyloth found themselves volunteering for a dangerous mission to infiltrate the alien ship and uncover the truth behind the attack. Admiral Thorne had been reluctant to send them, but their unique bond and combined skills made them the logical choice. As they prepared to embark, Xyloth could sense Jace's apprehension. "What's wrong?" she asked, laying a gentle hand on his shoulder. Jace sighed, his gaze distant. "I just can't shake the feeling that there's more to this than meets the eye. Why attack us out of nowhere? What do they want?" Xyloth nodded, sharing his concerns. "I feel it too. But whatever the reason, we'll face it together." Equipped with state-of-the-art stealth technology and their wits, Jace and Xyloth boarded the alien ship, their senses heightened by the adrenaline coursing through their veins. The vessel was unlike anything they had ever seen, its corridors twisting and turning in dizzying patterns, the air thick with an unfamiliar cloying scent. As they delved deeper into the ship, they encountered resistance, strange, insectoid creatures that seemed to communicate through a hive mind. Jace and Xyloth fought side by side, their bond allowing them to anticipate each other's moves and react with lightning speed. But as they breached the heart of the ship, they stumbled upon a revelation that shook them to their core. There, in a cavernous chamber pulsing with an eerie green light, they found row upon row of stasis pods, each containing a member of Xyloth's species, the Cryoxians. Xyloth staggered back, her hand flying to her mouth in horror. "What is this? Why are my people here?" Jace, his mind racing, scanned the room for clues. His gaze fell upon a console, its symbols foreign yet strangely familiar. As he approached, a sudden realization struck him. The symbols were similar to those he had seen in Xyloth's memories, glimpsed through their bond. With trembling hands, he activated the console, and a holographic image sprang to life. It was a Cryoxian, tall and regal, his eyes glinting with a madness that sent shivers down Jace's spine. "If you are seeing this," the figure spoke, its voice a sibilant whisper, "then our plan has come to fruition. The humans have been drawn into our trap, and our sleeper agents have been activated." Xyloth, her face ashen, turned to Jace. "Sleeper agents? What does he mean?" The hologram continued, its words chilling. "The bond you share with the human, Xyloth, is no accident. It is a result of our genetic engineering, a means to infiltrate and destroy our greatest threat, the humans." Jace felt a wave of betrayal wash over him, his heart constricting with pain. "Xyloth, did you know about this?" She shook her head vehemently, tears streaming down her face. "No. I swear, Jace, I had no idea. I would never betray you." As the weight of the truth settled upon them, Jace and Xyloth clung to each other, their bond the only certainty in a world turned upside down. They had come seeking answers, but now they found themselves facing a far greater challenge, one that threatened not only their lives, but the very foundation of their relationship, connection's power. Jace and Xyloth stood before the Cryoxian hologram, their hearts heavy with the weight of its revelations. The idea that their bond, the very thing that had brought them together, was nothing more than a tool of manipulation and destruction, was almost too much to bear. But even in the face of this betrayal, Jace refused to believe that what he and Xyloth shared was a lie. He turned to her, his eyes blazing with determination. "Xyloth, I know this isn't what we hoped to find, but I refuse to believe that our connection is false. What we have, what we feel, it's real." Xyloth, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears, nodded. "I feel it too, Jace, but how can we trust it, knowing what we know now?" Jace took her hands in his grip firm and reassuring. "We trust in ourselves, in the experiences we've shared. No matter what your people intended, what grew between us is genuine." As they stood there, drawing strength from each other, the hologram flickered to life once more. "You may have discovered our plan," the Cryoxian spoke, "but it is too late. Even now, our agents are in position, ready to strike at the heart of human civilization. Your bond, Xyloth, will be the key to their success." Jace's mind raced, pieces of the puzzle falling into place. "The Odyssey," he breathed. "They're going to use our connection to infiltrate Earth's defenses." Xyloth, her face hardened with resolve, squeezed Jace's hands. "Then we stop them. We use our bond, not as a weapon, but as a shield." Together, they raced back to the Odyssey, their urgency fueled by the knowledge of the impending threat. As they burst onto the bridge, Admiral Thorne turned to them, his face etched with concern. "Captain Ryder, Xyloth, what did you find?" Jace quickly briefed the Admiral on their discovery, the words tumbling from his lips in a rush. "Sir, we need to warn Earth. The Cryoxians are planning an attack, and they're using sleeper agents to infiltrate our defenses." Thorne's eyes widened, the gravity of the situation sinking in. "We'll send a warning immediately. But how do we stop them?" Xyloth stepped forward, her voice clear and steady. "We use our bond, Admiral. Jace and I can create a psychic shield around the Odyssey, preventing any Cryoxian from using their abilities to breach our defenses." The Admiral hesitated, the idea of relying on an alien connection clearly unsettling. But as he met Jace's gaze, he saw the unwavering trust and determination there. "Do it," he said, "and let's pray it works." As Jace and Xyloth stood hand in hand, their minds merging in a blaze of light, they poured every ounce of their strength and love into the shield. The Odyssey became a beacon of hope, a bulwark against the Cryoxian threat. And when the attack came, the Cryoxian agents found their powers useless, their connection to the